Well. Here we are. Here we are. How are we? That was a good howl. Excellent one. Excellent one. How are we today, members of the pack? Welcome back to the Midnight Cinema. It's your boy Midnight coming to you live here to throw you another video, another review. My biography. I am the son of thunder. I am the Odinson. My biography, Thor Love and Thunder, has been witnessed by his truly, myself. And I wielded Stormbreaker upon the field of battle against the one known as Gore, the God Butcher. And I waged my way to battle to stop this new menace from taking down the entire lot of all the gods that live among us. Man, let me tell you, this was I saw this Saturday night, and to be honest with you, this was a very fun movie. Very fun movie. When I first heard some of the reviews come out for this, especially on Twitter, right? A lot of people were not taking to it. Critics were just harsh about it, and I'm like, well, darn. I mean, I knew it was going to be funny, but what type of humor are we going for? And honestly, it's pretty silly. Oh, by the way, before I continue, I just had this thought. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to this video. Okay, like please, would love to get this channel up. Would love your support. But and this is also going to be a spoiler review. Just want to throw that in there, so I'm diving into it straight away. So, as far as like what I was saying about critics goes, they I guess didn't really take to the humor. That's one thing about this movie, the humor is it's silly, but it's a fun type of silly. It's not like, I'm beating you over the head with annoyance. I didn't feel like it was. And I have to give an honorable mention to two of my favorite characters in this movie. The goats themselves are literally what their abbreviation is. They are some of the greatest of all time. Every scene they were in, whenever they screamed, I fell out in laughter. I'm not even gonna lie. And really, I think I belted out a pretty good laugh when they crashed on Shadow World. I thought they were hilarious. I really did, especially when like the started being dragged on the screen for the first time, and you're like, well, who is making that sound? What is going on? That's what's going through my mind. I'm like, who is making that sound? What is this? All of a sudden, these two screaming goats come out of nowhere, and they were funny. They were absolutely hilarious. Thor's character, I thought Thor was great in this. I thought he was awesome in this. I was listening to a review earlier. Someone said that he felt that he was OP. Where? Why? See, here's my thing, right? This entire time before we even got to Thor Ragnarok, I felt like Thor was severely underpowered. I mean, severely. Okay, and like especially there's this one scene that stands out to me when he was going against Ultron and Ultron's holding him up and choking him out, and it's like there's no way for him to escape. How is he not breaking out of that? What? Come on. He's an Asgardian thunder god. Stop playing. So I felt like he was severely underused. Then we get Ragnarok, and it's, oh yeah, he's accessing that power now. He's tapping into it. Infinity War. Oh yeah. Even when he was out of shape in Endgame. Oh yeah. He was there. He was ready for war. And here, when he's back in shape, and he really, I mean, like Chris Hemsworth did his workouts for this one. He bulked up and said, "You are not fooling with me." And the thing about Thor in this movie is you see his struggle, right? How his whole thing is with this movie, dealing with loss is painful for him because he doesn't want to develop another attachment that he grows fond of, and then he loses that. He's lost a lot. His sister, his brother, numerous times. He lost Odin. He lost Asgard. Okay, he felt the weight of the world on his shoulders when he did not save. When he could have chopped off Thanos' head and saved half the universe, it weighed on him. Literally, it weighed on him. Okay, but seriously, he was going through it. And so when we see Jane come back in this movie and we see her struggle of she's dealing with stage 4 cancer, and she does some research and she's looking for what's going on and how she combat this. She's talked to other doctors and all. Even Selvig, he's like, I can't really help you out with that. Don't really know. Things aren't working. Sorry. And not like that. That sounds a little harsh, but but not like that. Trust me. Um, and so she discovers she comes back to New Asgard. She finds Mjolnir, and after she read in a book that it says, it will give the wielder great stamina, great speed, great power, great health. Right. So she decides to wield it. But just like in the comics, the thing is, every time she would use it, her sickness would get worse. And I loved how Taika Waititi brought her back for this movie and the way that he used her, because it was more so like putting someone familiar with Thor, restoring that love that he had, and building up to the point. Well, because her life is in great stakes right now, and no matter what she does, she can't really win. And so her whole struggle is, well, how can I live out my last days? How would I want to do it? If I have all this power to enjoy this for my last moments on Earth, and she could wield. Oh, it was. I thought that was beautiful. I thought that was very well told, and you see how it balances with Thor's story and what he has to learn to do. She, Jane, is learning to live for now. Thor is like, I can't embrace that because I'm too scared to lose no matter what, whether it's the moment or the future. He's afraid. But their whole balance, their whole character structure, even a shot where you see the flame burning between them when they're fighting on New Asgard, which was a phenomenal fight, by the way. But you can see like there's a passion between them. They are twin flames in a way. They're for each other. Maybe not. I don't know. There's the whole concept of twin flames. On maybe I'm saying it, soulmates, whatever. Either way, they're lovers, and it works for them. And like I said, I loved their relationship. I loved their banter. I even loved Valkyrie's banter with Jane and how they interacted quite a bit. And Valkyrie's story is also interesting because I even said on the podcast, was thinking, like, based on the trailer, Valkyrie she's not feeling being king. She's not feeling the politics. She doesn't like signing these papers. She doesn't like do these meetings, these treaties she has to sign, all these. She doesn't like the responsibilities of that. Her whole life has been centered around being a warrior, wielding her sword into battle, ready to spill the blood of any enemy. Like that's what Valkyrie lived for. And so her arc is, and that's why I love the title for this, Love and Thunder. Find those things that you love and embrace it like it's your last day. That's that whole concept. That's the movie right there. In layman's terms, find the thing that you love and embrace it like it's your last moment. And it's incredible. Even more so with this. Gore, how does he work in this? Well, I'll tell you. I feel as though he was underused a bit. I felt the movie could have been a bit longer in the sense like we could got more of Gore's story, but it's quick, you get it, and then we just keep it moving. We keep things moving. This movie is like we're keeping things moving. We're moving. We're moving. We're moving, and it's not a bad pace at all. So Gore, how's Christian Bale as Gore? Loved him. I thought that his introduction, because he fell out of love with the gods because of his lost love for his daughter. See how this all ties together? What? Come on. Look, his daughter. Okay, so his daughter dies, just like in the story in the comics. His daughter dies on their home planet of drought. He comes across this god in the garden, has all this fruit right in front of him, a couple of nature spirits right beside him, right? The god is cocky, doesn't really care about him, looks at Gore like he's an insect. Gore is sitting there like frothing at the mouth. He's worshiping him like, I love you. Like, please look at me. I'm sorry I lost my daughter. Like, he's really pouring his heart out to this god, right? And the god looks at him like he's an insect. Like he's pathetic. And we see all black the necro sword sitting right next to him. The blackness it was representing like that corruption. You could see his change because he wasn't like pale white and then had the black veins and all that yet. He didn't have that yet. But by the time all black enters the fray, and it's like this god is a false god to him. He's like, there's no way that you would treat my people like this. What god does this? And he gets infected with it, and that evil that seeps into him. And he's like, I make a promise from this day, all gods will die, and he kills him. And see, his whole arc was all about his daughter. Because as we're following the movie, as we're going along, they mention the Rock of Eternity. If anybody who gets there gets their wish, there's this part in the movie where Thor and Gore fight, which was awesome. I love the fight on Shadow World. And you would think it's the last fight, but it's not. Um, and so he gets to the Rock of Eternity at the end, WC, right? And well, not at the end. Well, yes. So he feels as though, well, his wishes, I'm sorry. He just wants his daughter back. See, the whole time we're led to think it's, oh yeah, yeah, he just wants to kill all the gods. No. And I love that twist because his whole story of revenge was very similar to Sandman and Spider-Man 3. His whole thing was, it was love. It wasn't, I don't want to do this just because. Once he found a way that he could have his daughter back, he wanted to do everything he could to get her back. And I thought that was beautiful. I really did. This movie, this is a wonderful movie, really. Korg is hilarious. Meek is hilarious. There's that scene with Meek taking minutes at a meeting that they were having because the children got abducted in New Asgard by Gore's like shadow creatures, which is interesting because I remember I was talking to somebody on Twitter earlier, a friend of mine on Twitter earlier, and he said, what about Noel? Is he going to show up at some point? And I said, well, I mean, I would have to think so because we have Venom now in the MCU after what we saw in No Way Home. Now we have the All Black the Necro Sword, which is in the comic linked to um, Null, the symbiote god, right? And so, are we going to get King in Black? I felt as though those whispers that uh, Gore was hearing initially thought that might have been Null and alluding to it, but I'm not sure because they weren't symbiotes moving through the movie. They're like these shadow creatures, but who knows? It could be possible. Maybe they were symbiotes. I don't know. But to me, I didn't think they were. Thought they were more like shadow creatures, and there was a lot of blood in this too. Um, Surprisingly, just from the creatures themselves and even the gods. I mean, when they were going at it and fighting and just spilling the gods' blood, and it's like the creatures you can see, it's like I guess dark red or whatever, but it's not like horror movie blood really. Just guts of creatures slicing them up. How you doing, Ben? Um, and so with the gods, it's like their blood was gold and all. It's just like spilling everywhere. I thought that was cool too because it's like another thing in Greek mythology. They bleed gold. Um, and so, like I said, I love this movie. I love Russell Crowe in this. There's some surprise cameos. I won't even tell you at the beginning. Okay. Just actually, well, I mean, it's a spoiler review. Melissa McCarthy is in this movie. What? Playing Hella? I thought she was funny. And I haven't been like the biggest Melissa McCarthy fan, but I thought she was genuinely entertaining in the play that they put on. Even the scene with I love seeing Sam Neill again. See, we got Sam Neill twice this year, Jurassic World and Back in Love and Thunder playing fake Odin. Yes, this is a great movie, Ben. You're absolutely right. I love this. I mean, like honestly, yeah, it was Melissa. Yes, it was Melissa. Had it caught me so off guard. I did not expect to see her in this because it was it was really shocking. I feel like that's how you do a surprise like that in that way. Okay. So what else am I feeling about this movie? Oh my. Okay, there's a couple things that I gotta say that were a little strange. How much time? And I thought about this morning. Yes, Matt Damon is awesome as fake Loki. I agree. And Luke Hemsworth is awesome as fake Thor. Um, and so here's the thing. This is what I wonder. In the montages that we see with Korg telling the story of Jane and Thor and how their falling out was, how much time took place between in the first Thor movie, between when he lands on Earth and when he becomes worthy again? Because all of that happened in a very, very seemed to be abrupt amount of time. Maybe that was just, I don't know if that was a daily thing, but it seemed like it took some time, like over some months. So how long is that time gap there? That's just one thing I was wondering that stood out to me because that wasn't clarified. But also he leaves in the first Thor and then comes back sometime later in the Dark World, and then he says in the movie, "Oh, it's been like 7 years," and because he's been stuck with the Avengers and all. So all that happened in 3 days. Ben, that took place over the course of 3 days. Yeah. So so it's like, so that's why I'm saying that all of that could not have happened every single day. Um, if, in this movie. So how much time really did it take? I thought that was one thing. Maybe that's just not canon. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too deep into it. I don't know. But to me, that was one glaring thing that was like, I don't know about that. Loved Russell Crowe as Zeus. Thought he was so funny. Um, but I thought, that Master Bolt took him out because that fight, yeah. If you when you see that fight was great. In the omnipotent city in the throne room, and it was just, damn, that just Gore with I mean, Thor with his chains, and then Valkyrie with her sword, and Jane with Mjolnir. It was great. And another thing, comic wise, I love the whole Thor Stormbreaker and Mjolnir relationship. I never thought a weapon could be this hilarious, but yes, it was, and it worked perfectly. Ben says what we have here. First Thor was over 3 days only. Okay. So yeah, see, that's what I mean. It's kind of like, well, did all of that happen? That could not all have happened. Him leaving, disappearing, because he didn't have Mjolnir to just leave and disappear like that in the first Thor. So this had to be like sometime after. I don't know. It was glaring, and it just didn't make sense to me. I'm like, so why are we doing that? Like, why is it like that? Anyway, the kids were there's the same with the kids. They were funny. Well, I mean, not funny, but like they were awesome in that last battle. Um, they were awesome in that last battle. Now, I also heard someone say earlier this was a thing that I kind of have to agree with the whole Thor maybe being OP in this movie thing, which I don't think we're not even at the we're still in reaching in his peak of his powers, right? So here's the thing. Thor was able to bestow his powers to the kids. And so I heard this on the John Campbell show, and he pointed this out. He said, "Well, when was he able to do that? So why didn't he do that in Endgame if he could do that this whole time?" It's a good point, but I would throw this theory out there. The only reason why they were worthy, or the only reason why he could give it to them and them specifically, is because children are of innocence and pure of heart, right? That's that's what I would think. That would be my argument. Maybe that's a bit of a reach because, like, I mean, if he could do it in Endgame, well, everybody's at that point. People have made their mistakes. They weren't like, pure of heart. People have killed folks, okay, but these are kids and they're young warriors and they're young warrior hearts. So maybe that might have been something. I don't know. Ben has another comment here. Let's see. Also, did you know Gore's daughter, who moves in with Thor at the end, was Hems's? Oh yes, I saw their names. So I sat for the whole credits, and I thought it was also interesting to see like a lot of the family members that were in there. Like even Christian Bale's family was in there, and that's a good point, Ben. Yes, that is Chris Hemsworth's daughter. Gore's daughter is Thor's daughter in real life. Yeah. That's a great bringer, Ben. Thank you for that, Ben. Also those post credit scenes, man. Oh, what? Hercules? Oh yeah. Jane's in Valhalla? Oh yeah. I will say this. With Thor returning, I think the next storyline they tackle with him is the War of the Realms, War of the Gods storyline. And all of the realms are just out of shape. Gods are at war with everyone. Maybe that, and that could also tie into Secret Wars at some point. Because whenever that happens, because there will be so many characters that are, in the MCU at this point, that they will be on a one giant battlefield, and they all have to destroy each other in the name of the game. I guess that could be like, with the Infinity Saga, we watched the construction of the MCU, and that, if you have that whole gladiator fight and there's one left standing, that could be, the end of the MCU. It's like it's showing itself out in a way. That's what I'm thinking. But hey, I'm rambling at this point. But I say all this to say, look, I love this movie. It is a great movie. I think it's probably my third favorite of Phase Four, just behind Shang Chi and just behind No Way Home. I might have this actually tied with No Way Home for me in that second spot. Actually, just because I loved the humor and it worked for me, and seeing like my favorite character on screen just go berserk on everyone. And I don't think he was OP. He was just that's Thor, and it's like they finally realized, oh yeah, this guy, he's a god with all this strength and power. Of course, we should make him like this. Duh. Come on, guys. Anyway, so tonight, I will be on Ben's show. Ben, we'll be doing Geekdom Uncut, and I will talk more about Thor there. We'll exchange thoughts and opinions. I also want to do a show later on this week with a friend of mine. You might see return, Brother Creek. Okay, who's coming on, and we'll talk Thor, and it'll be fun. And we might even go into Jurassic. That's something we've been meaning to do at some point. So you might get a Thor Jurassic video. Just comparing them, just talking about them. So, yes, tonight at 11, Multiverse of Geekdom. Come check it out. Geekdom Uncut. We'll be talking about our old favorite Schmodown matches because we are movie trivia fans. We are fans of the sport. And talking Thor Love and Thunder. So come on down. It'll be a fun time, great conversation. And guys, you can find me here at on Twitter. Sorry, at the Outlawed Mime. You can find me on Instagram at the Midnight Cinema 41. You can find me on my podcast Wolves of Midnight on Anchor, Spotify, Pocket Cast, Google Podcasts, and you can also find me in the Facebook group Multiverse of Geekdom. Feel free to join that, please. Again, like, share, subscribe. I love your support. Love you guys. Love talking movies with you all. And it's a great time to be a film fan. It really, really is. So please like this video, share this video, and have a great Sunday evening, guys. Love you all.